we are going to be looking at all the books I read in the month of August. I still have a lot of complicated thoughts about this book. I find a lot of Jane Austen books are quite dramatic, thrilling. It kept me wanting to turn the pages. Hello you guys, welcome back to another video. We are going to be looking at all the books I read in the month of August. Now, a number of these books I haven't completed, but I have read them in the month of August, so I'm going to be including them in this video. I also have a couple books that I read over the previous months, which I'm just putting into this wrap up, because then that way I can talk about them. Some months I didn't read many books at all, so I didn't do a wrap up for that month, so I've included them in this wrap up. I hope you don't mind. Also, I'm upset because my husband is away for the day and I left my makeup in the car, so I haven't been able to fully get ready for this video, but I know you guys don't mind. No makeup is absolutely fine. So anyway, let's talk about the books I read in the month of August and some other books as well. First book I have on the list is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. This book was so atmospheric and moody. I did not expect it to be as powerful as it was, and I really enjoyed following the character Pip and the many ways of self-discovery that he goes through. So I really enjoyed this book. This is also a gorgeous floppy edition, like this is just perfect. And reading this book was just such a brilliant experience, and I 100% recommend reading it as a classic. It's just so good. Loved reading this book. Next book we have is a 5-star. This is Death Wears... I just realised I didn't give a rating for this book.
This book is a 3.7, is it?
I'm giving this book a 4-star now that I think about it, because the experience was so good and I really enjoyed it altogether, so this was 4 stars. Now going into the next book, this was a 5-star for me. I absolutely loved reading this. This is Death Wears a Golden Cloak by Andy Maslin. This story was so immersive and I just could not put this book down. I read this book in something like 5 days, which is really fast for me. And it was just perfect in so many ways. It was thrilling, it kept me wanting to turn the pages, and I found that the overall plots were wrapped up really well in this book. There aren't any loose ends that are left. It's just such a well-rounded thriller book, and I recommend reading it 100%. Maybe check the trigger warnings, but I found it a absolutely fine read. And I'm someone that's quite sensitive to trigger warnings, but this book overall was just fantastic and I loved it so much and I can't stop talking about it. Next book we have is The Last Temptation by Val McDermid. This book was interesting. I am rating this a 3-star. I still have a lot of complicated thoughts about this book. There were parts of it that really cheesed me off, and now that I look back, I think I maybe should have DNF'd this book, but it was okay. I read it and I'm glad I read it, I think, and the characters just really cheesed me off, and I found the character, you were very much told things and not shown things in this book. You were told that Carol Jordan is this amazing detective, but you aren't necessarily shown it. You're told that Tony is a brilliant psychiatrist, and you're not necessarily shown it. But I can lean more in Tony's favour than Carol's, because there were some case notes that were quite interesting in this book. But overall, the plot was frustrating, but I still wanted to keep reading the book. So I'm very torn as to what I feel about this book. It is a solid 3 stars because at the end of the day I did complete this book and there were times when I was fully immersed in the story. Do check the trigger warnings of this book because there were parts that I read and I thought, whoa, okay, I was not expecting that. So do I recommend you read this book? I honestly don't know. This was complicated for me and I still have very complicated emotions toward this book, but nevertheless I read it in the month of August. It is a very long book, it's almost 600 pages and I feel that that is way too long for this book. If it was 400 pages that would have been so much better and I probably would have rated it higher than 3 star. But yeah, that's how I feel about this book. Let's move on to the next one. Another book I read in the month of August is Mr. Skip by Michael Morpurgo. This was a lovely, just little light-hearted read. It wasn't too deep, it was just a light-hearted read. It was hopeful, it was sweet. We're following the character of Jackie, who finds Mr. Skip, a little gnome, in a skip, and it's about how Mr. Skip ends up bringing her good luck and how in ways that she didn't expect. So it was a very nice little read. I'm probably not going to reread it, but I did enjoy it. It was just a nice refresher from reading thrillers that I had been going through in the month of August. So that's this book. I enjoyed it. I'd say I'd rate it a solid 3-star. Now we have Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. I don't think I've talked about this in a wrap-up. I read it in the month of, I think it might have been April or May. It was quite like a few months ago now, but I don't think I've talked about it in a wrap-up. This book was very good. It was I find a lot of Jane Austen books are quite dramatic, and I'm learning this the more I'm reading from her. There is another book that I am going to read by Jane Austen. I think it's Northumberton Abbey or something like that. But this book was really good, and I do love the addition of this. I've spoken about it a number of times, but I feel like this front cover is just so gorgeous and it's quite ornate. I listened to the audiobook for a lot of this because that really helped me get through classics, and I did enjoy this book. It was very immersive. The back of it says, adultery is not a typical Jane Austen theme, but when it disturbs the relatively peaceful household at Mansfield Park, it has quite unexpected results. The diffident and much put-on heroine Fanny Price has to struggle to cope with the results, re-examining her own feelings while enduring the cheerful amorality, old-fashioned indifference and priggish disapproval of those around her. It was a good book. I might reread it at some point because I think I could probably get more from it reading it a second time. And I enjoyed it, and I recommend you picking it up. So did I say what I've rated this? I don't think I have. I think I would rate this a 4-star. This was a very good book. Now we're going into books that I haven't completed yet, but I have started reading them, and I am probably going to be carrying these books on into the month of September. Also, how excited are we that it is coming up to September? Like, how amazing is that? I am so excited for fall. I actually have my pumpkin chai candle right here, and I have just been loving all of the fall videos on TikTok. So obsessed with it. If you love this time of year, then comment down below, because we can all look forward to the most special months of the year ahead of us. I love the end of the year. It makes me so happy. Anyway, going back into the books that we have read bits of, but we'll be carrying on into the month of September. So we have Rebecca by Daphne Demure. I'm only up to page 25 of this book, and as I'm filming this, it's the 29th of August, so I still have a couple more days to read this book at the end of the month. So far, this book is very elegant in the way that it is written, and I don't have too much to say about our main character. I can't even remember the name of our main character. Is the name of our main character Rebecca? I'm not sure. I thought Rebecca was the person that we are going to find out more about in this book. Anyway, I've started reading this. It's going really well so far, and I do want to deep dive into this book because it's very moody and it's very suspenseful in some way, even though I'd say this is probably like a classic at this point because it's gotten so many good reviews of this book and so many people read it and enjoy it. I am interested in other books by Daphne Demure. There's actually like a section on the inside of this book that shows other books. So there's Jamaica Inn, The House on the Strand, My Cousin Rachel, Julius, Rule Britannia, Frenchman's Creek, and The Loving Spirit. So depending on how I get on in this book, I'll probably end up reading maybe more of Daphne du Maurier's books, but so far this is going really well and I'm looking forward to getting into it and really diving into this book. Now we have Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin. I've spoken about this book a million times, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about this book, but I am thinking that this is, over the next couple months, that's when I'm going to be finishing this book, because we're coming up to the perfect cozy time of year, and this book is cozy, atmospheric, moody. It is fantastical and magical, and it is everything that you could want in a fantasy book. It is so good, and I cannot recommend reading this book enough. The main character Jed I have found frustrating and annoying, but I'm getting to the point now where I feel like I'm starting to understand him, which is really comforting to me, because there was a time when reading this book I thought, oh my goodness, Jed, can you just grow up and start to realise the consequences of your actions? But now I feel like I'm actually getting to understand him, and from his point of view, how he feels about certain things. So I'm excited to really get into this and to finish it over the next couple months. I'm probably going to do a reading vlog dedicated to getting through as much of this book as possible. I think I would like to get up to at least halfway to start with, because the text in this book is quite small. Oh, don't crumple the page. The text in this book is quite small, so I'm thinking I'll probably get up to halfway in one video and then I'll finish it in another. That's that with this book. Love it so far. I'd say right now it's sitting at a 4.75. It is just such a good book to dive into and to just forget the world around you. I love it so much so far. In case you haven't seen my videos in the past, this is what my annotation tab section looks like. So we have magical, wonder, misty, stormy, journey, sunny, forest, fantastical, scary, and nervous. I like to incorporate emotions into my annotating, so when I'm feeling these emotions, I will tab with the tabs. So I hope you like the look of this. I love how I have tabbed this book. It makes me really proud when I look at it. So we have Earthsea. Now we have moving into the non-fiction side of things. We have Moriarty's Police Law. I am slowly but surely getting through this book. I'm not very far at all. I'm only on page 6 of this book, but I am studying it slowly and I'm getting my way through it. If you are interested in learning more about... If you're interested in seeing my experience with this book, then check out my academic bookish vlogs, because that's where I will really be going into this. I don't know how much I'm going to get to read of this in the month of September, because in the month of September we are going to be looking into the next book, which I have not started reading. The next book that I have on my list of my August wrap up. I can't get my words out today, goodness me. Okay, moving on to the next book, we have The Enigma, Alan Turing, The Enigma by Andrew Hogben. This is how my annotations are looking in this book. This is my pride and joy. I love this so much. And in the month of September, we are going to be diving into this book and Earthsea and really getting into the nooks and crannies and just fully digesting these books. These two books right here. These are the books that we are going to be diving into in the month of September. Now, I read a few pages of this book in this month, which is why I'm including it in my wrap up, but we are really going to be getting into the majority of it in the month of September. I am so excited. These are what my annotations look like. If you like colourful, then you will really enjoy the annotating parts of my videos. These two books are going to be on my September TBR, but in the meantime, we're not going to get into that. We'll get into that in another video. But yes, anyway, these are the books that I read in the month of August, some in completion, some partly, and we're going to be getting into more of these books in the month of September. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed sitting down and filming it for you. Keep your eyes out for my September TBR, as that will be coming very soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you a lot, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!